All right, I think it was Monday that we went over inequality. So really quick, remember, this is what you need to remember about an inequality when you're doing it. An inequality is identified, and this is in your notes. How do we know it's an inequality when we look at it? What's it have? It is a greater than, a less than, a greater than sign, or it can have a less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. That's how you know it's an inequality. So if you have like 4y is greater or less than or equal to 16, how do I know that's an inequality? Because the less than, equal to sign here in the middle. What's the difference in these two? What's the difference in these?
The first one means it could be 16 or
okay, so this one is an inequality, which means it has more than one solution. Mm-hmm. This one is a what? And what?
Equation.
It's an equation, which means it only has one solution. So an inequality, and this is something you need to write down, just as a reminder, an inequality has many solutions. Now, what do I mean by solutions? Answers. Okay? So an inequality has many solutions, whereas an equation only has one solution. So you need to remember that. So an inequality has many solutions, whereas an equation only has one solution. So that means these are one steps. Remember, when you have a variable and there's an answer, there's answers here on the other side. So it's balanced right now. Remember, math's all about what? Balance. This one is not balanced. Do you see that? This is not balanced. Why? Why is this one not balanced?
Because it doesn't say what the y is for. It doesn't have an answer.
It doesn't have an answer. Remember, if you're going to get on a teeter-totter, how much fun will a teeter-totter be with just one person? No fun at all. What's going to happen if you get on that teeter-totter? You're going to sit there on the ground because nothing's going to move you. It's not balanced. So anytime that you think of an inequality in an equation, they are balanced. That means there's partners to it. Now, in order to solve either one of these, they're solved the exact same way. And that's what I need you all to realize. The only difference, I'm going to repeat it, inequality has many solutions. An equation only has one. So if I go to solve these, we're going to solve them side by side. Okay, I'm going to solve them side by side. My objective is to what? And I've said this, isolate the what? The y. You want to isolate the variable. I want to get that variable by itself. In order to do that, I have to get rid of what?
The 4.
I have to get rid of the 4. How do I get rid of this 4 in this case?
Divided by 4.
Why am I dividing by 4?
Because 4 divided by...
What, Isaiah?
It's the opposite of what?
It's the opposite of what it's doing. So if you want to get rid of something, you have to do the opposite to get rid of it. So that means the 4's are now gone. But whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. So if I divide by 4 on the left side, then I have to divide by 4 on the right side. So now I end up having y is less than or equal to 16 divided by 4. This side I have the same thing, except it's y is equal to 16 divided by 4. So then I finish solving it. Now, if you have a short answer, unless you want to have to write all this out in words, show each step. Notice, I showed how I divided and it canceled it out. The next step was dividing on the other side. You have to show every step. So now all I have to do is literally divide 16 by 4. So y is less than or equal to 4. And on my equation, y is equal to 4. So that means the only number that will work here with my equation, the only number that will work here is 4. That's the only thing that's going to work here is a 4. This one, however, says anything less than 4 or equal to 4. So that means I can have 4. Look at this. Is 4 less than or equal to 4?
Yeah.
Yes. Is 5 less than or equal to 4? No. So that's not a solution. It has to be anything less than 4. So that means literally 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1 goes on forever. Anything less than 4, now do you have room to write all that down? No, it's impossible. That's where this comes into play. That tells you y can be anything less than or equal to 4. Here means y can only be what? 4. That's all it can be. It can never change. Whereas in this case, you have many, 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 many solutions. Do you all understand the difference in these two? Come on. Don't sit there like dead people. I see dead people. Y'all ever watch that movie, The Sixth Sense? I see dead people. No? It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. It's better when you watch it the second time after it tells you that, explains it at the end. Okay. All right, so remember. An inequality, many solutions. An equation, only one solution. Now, that brings us to our next step, because you all already knew how to do this pretty much. Because when we did our ratios, we had to turn our ratios into equations and solve. Now, when you are talking about an inequality, there's two ways to write your answer. So when you're talking about inequalities, there are two ways to write your answer. Okay, there's two ways. The first way is by using numbers, just like we did, by writing it out like so, numbers and variables. So that's one way of doing it, exactly what we did over here. We showed y is less than or greater to 4. We were using variables and numbers. That's one way to write our answer. The second way is what we're going to learn today. The second way is by modeling. Well, no, let's not use modeling. Graphing the solutions, because there's more than one, on a number line. Now remember, there's more than one, so am I going to want to put a bunch of dots forever and ever and draw the longest number line in history? No. So I'm going to show you a very simple way that you can graph it on a number line, and you will know the answer by just looking at it. Now, what you've got to understand is we use a dot to show if the solution is equal or not. Like up here. When I look at this solution, I know that it can equal 4. What if I did this right here? Can it equal 4? No. Okay, so if it has an equal sign with it, it can equal 4. If it does not, it means it cannot. So here's what I want you to remember. This, and Miss Cindy does this all the time. I want everybody to make a fist. Make a fist. A tight fist. Okay, do you see that? There is no opening on your fist. None whatsoever. So if it is equal, so this is what I want you to show. Equal, this is one way to remember it. It is a closed fist. I do this still. If it's a closed fist, it is equal. Do you see that? I'm going to show you why here in a minute. Now, make a O. That's an O. Do you see that O? Look at it. That's an O. You see the O? Mm-hmm. What does the word not have in it? An O. An O. So if it's not equal, your fist forms an O. That is a very easy way to remember the difference. Okay, that's a very easy way to know the difference. So if I have a number line here, I'm going to fix this a small number line. Here's my 0, right? Here's my 0. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, because I'm going to use this one. Y is less than or equal to 4. In this case, can my solution equal 4?
Yes.
Yes, so it is equal to 4. So you would find 4 and put a closed dot. That closed dot tells you, hey, it equals 4. But it can also equal anything less than 4. So all you have to do is draw you an arrow pointing to the left. That simply means anything equal to or less than 4 forever can be the solution. Do you see that? What if I give you, let's give you another one. Let's give you y is greater than -2. So here's my number line. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What kind of dot am I using for this one? Am I not going to use an open dot or a closed dot? Huh? Yep. Remember, closed means it's equal. Is this equal to -2? No. So what kind of dot? Open. We're going to use an open dot. So this is, I guess I need to put these dots here so you'll see them. Don't worry about it. Here's my -2, so I put an open dot on top of -2 because it's not equal. Now it says it's greater than, so which way am I going to? Which way am I moving, to the right or left? To the right. So I fix me an arrow going to the right. So let's pull this out really quick. Let's look at this really fast, okay? So pull this out. Now, if you can't find yours, you'll have to get it. You'll have to get one in a minute. This is an inequality. This inequality has to be solved. Actually, we're not. Do I want to do this one with you yet? Let's hold off. Let's mark out that exponent. Okay, mark out the exponent. For right now, mark out the exponent. Now, we're going to solve this inequality. I know it's an inequality because it has a less than sign. Now, really and truly, is there anything to solve with this inequality? It just simply says, because we took away the exponent, it says x is less than 12. So draw yourself a number line. Put 0 in the middle. And of course, you're going to draw 12 marks, kind of spaced evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you're going to draw some on the other side. And of course, we know anything to the right is positive. Anything to the left is negative. Now, is this equal or not equal? Look at my inequality here. Not equal. So what kind of dot am I using? It's open. So you would go over to my 12, circle an open dot on top of the 12. On top of the 12. Because it is not equal. Now, this is a less than sign. So literally the sign tells you which way to draw your arrow. Which way is it pointing? Which way is this pointing? To the left. So you're literally going to draw your line to the left. And there's your answer when you graph it. Now, this one we have to solve because x is not by itself. In order to get x by itself, what do we need to do here? Divide by 4. If you divide by 4 on one side, you have to divide by 4 on the other side. These cancel. So then it gives me x is 24 divided by 4 is what? 6. So now look at my inequality. So I'm going to draw myself a number line. 0 in the middle. 6 on one. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it equal or not equal? Look at my inequality here. Is it equal or not equal? What? Not equal. So what kind of dot? Open. So we're going to use an open dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's my open dot. Now notice it says x. You got to be careful with this one because the way it's written. You got to read it backwards here. X is less than 6. So which way is my arrow going to go in this case? It's less than 6. It's going to go to the left. If you ever want to put your exponent in the front, you can switch places with these, but if you switch places, your inequality has to flip. Yeah, it has to swap. Then you can tell which way your arrow is going to go. Now, does this seem very hard? It's not hard. The biggest thing is to remember, do I use an open dot? Do I use a closed dot? Do I move to the left or do I move to the right? Well, if it's less than, you're moving to the left. If it's greater than, you are moving to the right. Now, let's turn it on over. Skip this page. Okay, we're going to skip this page for right now. We'll come back to it. Go to this page. We're going to practice some. All right, now, open dot. What does an open dot mean? Not equal. An open dot means not equal. So I am not going to use an equal sign with my inequality. Which way is my arrow going? To the left. So it means it's less than. So the only thing I'm using is a less than sign. I'm not using an equal sign with it because it's an open dot. That's the first thing you're going to identify is what inequality am I using and which way am I going. Now all I have to do is say, well, what is the solution here? What is it showing? What's it sitting on? 1. So I know 1 is on the right. What variable are we going to use? Any. You pick it.
X, Y, A, B, C.
Anything you want to pick. I'm going to pick C because my name is Cindy. You can pick whatever you want. Most of the time it will be X or Y because that's your most common. All right, now when I look at 33, open or closed dot? Closed, right? So is it equal or not equal? It's equal. So it means I'm going to have an equal sign with my inequality. I'm going to have an equal sign with it. Now I just got to figure out, is it a greater than sign or less than sign? It's a greater than sign. So now I have my inequality. So now all I have to do is look and see, what is it sitting on? Negative 4 goes on the right. And my what goes on the left?
Variable.
Variable. Well, Whatever you want to choose goes on the left. Pretty easy, isn't it? Once you get used to what these dots mean, and I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to forget next year, and guess what you're going to be trying to remember? What did Miss Cindy say about my fist? Oh, closed, closed means equal. Not equal, because not has an O in it, forms an O with my fist. Alright, let's look at this one. I'm going to look at my inequality, and first thing I'm going to ask, what kind of dot am I using? Am I using a closed or an open? Open. It's not equal, so I'm going to use an open dot. On what number? 2. So I'm going to find the 2, put an open dot. And is it less than or greater than? What sign is it? It's a less than sign, so I'm going to go to the left. And of course, you always make sure you create the arrow, because the arrow tells it goes on forever in that direction. It never stops. This is what that arrow represents. Alright, now when I look at 35, is it an open? Is it going to be an open or closed dot? Closed, because no, wait, look at it. Is it equal? Yeah, it's going to be closed. I'm sorry. It's going to be closed. On top of what number? 4. So I'm going to find the 4, put a closed dot. Is it greater than or less than? Greater than, so my arrow is going to go to the right. It's what we had it from Monday. Alright, it says the number x, so I know I'm going to use an x. That's my variable. Right? Is greater than. So what sign am I using here? The greater than sign is greater than -3. But less than or equal to 0. Let Cindy read that again. So what you're going to do is it's going to be but less than or equal to 0. So it can be equal to or less. So it is greater than, x is greater than -3. So I know it is, what kind of dot? Open or closed? It's not equal, so what is it? Open. Not means open. So I'm going to find my -3. I'm going to put me an open dot. And it's going to go to the right. The low temperature for the day is -1. So I know it was -1 or higher, because that was the low temperature. So I know x is going to be greater than or less than -1. Because it did reach, do you notice this word is? That word is tells me it is equal to -1 at one time. So is it going to be an open or closed dot?
Closed.
It's going to be closed. Because it is equal. So I'm going to find -1, put my closed dot. And of course, at some point of the day, it was warmer, so it would go to the right. Miss Cindy's going to check this one. I know I've messed this one up, so we'll come back to this one, okay? So put yourself a little star here. So we'll come back to this one. I know Miss Cindy's messed this one up, but I want to check and make sure. The rest of the day, what you're going to do is we're going to practice these inequalities. I've got it's going to be on IXL. Remember, if it's equal, we have a closed dot. If it's not equal, it's an open dot. And we know that because not has an O in it. It's open. If it's greater than, we're going to the right. If it's less than, we're going to the left. Any questions before I turn this off? Does everybody kind of feel okay with it?